Hey guys, today I'm going to bring you a preview of the newest Tier 10 Chinese heavy tank, the WZ-111 5A. It's on the common test server right now, and I have been playing it, and it is a complete monster. It's, I would almost call this tank overpowered at the moment. Um, so, in fact, the first game I had in it, I did over 8,000 damage. Literally the first game. It's crazy. Basically, it is an upgraded version. If you're familiar with the Tier 9 Chinese heavy tank, the WZ-111 111 Model 1-4, the 111 5A is what has better DPM, better armor. It's just slightly better. Well, though I suppose I wouldn't say slightly better. I would say it's much better. The rate of fire goes up from from 4.29 rounds a minute to 5.36. That's over 1.1 rounds a minute in rate of fire. It's crazy. Which means, so basically your DPM is pretty much identical to the 113. I think the 113 has like 10 more DPM or something. I just put my 113 crew into the 5A on the test server. I think that the 113 has like 3,327 DPM, so but it's basically the same. Your armor gets a big buff in the 5A. You have now 140 millimeters of armor on the upper frontal glacis, and as if that wasn't enough, they gave you 155 on the lower plate. Now, okay, the reasonable side of me is kind of frustrated with this continual power creep in World of Tanks, and the 111 5A is no help for that. It's completely. I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, because besides the big buff to the frontal armor, the front of the turret is 300 millimeters thick. 300. It still remains 180 on the side and 60 at the rear, and is as if all that. This a crazy rate of fire. So, by the way, you get your rate of fire down to 8.86 seconds. With brothers in arms, rammer, vents, and food. You also get 7 degrees of gun depression. 7 degrees of gun depression in a Chinese heavy tank, with 5.36 rate of fire on a 130 millimeter gun. 7 degrees of gun depression, 300 millimeters of frontal turret armor, and 140 of upper frontal glacis armor. I just don't see. The reasonable side of me sees absolutely no need to do this, because the armor profile of the 111 1.4 is pretty decent. Like, with 5 degrees of gun depression, it forces you to think carefully about where you place yourself, and to be conscious about small ridge lines. Just be situationally aware so you can get hulled down. And now, obviously, 155 millimeters of armor on the lower plate is everything at tier 10 is going to go through that. Even if you angle in tanks, even if you angle like this, you're going to have you're going to have about 250 millimeters, basically all round. Though with this kind of weird pike nose on the 111, this kind of side of the pike becomes weaker when you angle this way. But 250 millimeters of penetration, everything's going to go through that at tier 10. So it's not like you're gonna be bouncing everything, but it's like but you're also going to get a lot more surprise ricochets. It is going to be a lot more forgiving than the 111 1.4, and I just don't see the necessity for that incredible armor buff when your rate of fire goes up more than 1 round per minute. I mean, the turret armor, like 230 at the front is plenty because you have the giant mantlet, which is like something like 400 millimeters effective with all the spaced armor. There's like absolutely no reason to have 300 millimeters. I just this power creep, and you still have that lovely spaced upper side armor of the 111 that is basically is kind of like the IS-7. It just eats heat rounds, and if you're angled at all, sometimes even if you aren't angled, it's practically impossible to go through it. It's just and then what blows my mind is the 7 degrees of gun depression. 7 degrees of gun depression. By the way, they buffed the gun depression of the 113 over the side now. Now it's 7 degrees. Still 5 degrees over the front, but now it's 7 over the side. Wait, 3,000. Yeah, okay. I was just checking something. So, but this gets 7 degrees over the front. Like, what the heck? I mean, the Chinese heavy tank fanatic in me is like really excited about this, and like, by the way, I've already started grinding the 111.14 again, to get the experience so I can unlock it right away when it comes out on the live server. But at the same time, after playing World of Tanks for so long, I know. I've seen this power creep for a long time, and this, even though I love my Chinese heavy tanks, this is just too much. All they needed to do was give either you have the rate of fire buff and the gun depression, or you have the rate of fire buff and the maybe the hull armor buff, but not rate of fire, gun depression, and turret and hull armor buff. That's too much. The first game I played in this tank, I did 8,500 damage and like another 1,500 spotting. It's just insane. We were on I forget what map it was, but I was able to use my gun depression, and I was like up against like 2 Type 5 heavies, and I just like, besides, in this tank, your penetration is 250, which is, well, it's 1 degree, 1 millimeter better than the 113, basically the same. But of course, you get those incredible 340 millimeter penetration heat rounds, which go through anything unless it's incredibly angled. They'll go through anything as long as you aim in the right place. Type 5 heavy mouse, anything. So I just sat there with my gun depression and my 300 millimeters of turret armor, and just destroyed these Type 5. Literally did almost all the damage to both of these Type 5 heavies. It's just crazy because only like basically 8.5 seconds after you fire your 130 millimeter round with 490 alpha damage, 8.5 seconds later you're reloaded again. It's just mind-boggling, really. And I just think they have made this tank way too strong, and I hope that they fix it, that they take away either the turret armor or the hull armor or the gun. I mean, to be honest, I would like to see a Chinese heavy tank with gun depression. That would be nice. I would gladly sacrifice the hull armor and turret armor for the gun depression. Gun depression and rate of fire buff would be plenty. Keep the armor profile of the 111.14 and just give it the rate of fire and gun depression. Anyways, that's enough ranting. So, by the way, I can't show you replays from the common test. It just, the system, it doesn't work like that. So, I'm going to have to just go into a game right on the test, so a live game. Alright, here we are in the 111 5A on Erlenberg. I'm going to ping the map there. I'm going to push up there and hope my team pushes up to support me. Be great if we had 2 Type 5s up there with me. You can see that it's really mobile.
like the 113. It's the same weight as the 113, 40 tons, has the same horsepower, 750, so same power to weight ratio. You know, it's got the same DPM, got the same tank traverse, got the same turret traverse, I think. So that's the disappointing thing about this is the homogeneity with the 113. Now, like, don't get me wrong, I love the playstyle, so, like, in that sense, it's great. But I also wish they would have given it something that really defined it and set it apart from the 113, because right now they're just, you know, they're pretty much the same. It's just one has a 130 and the other a 122. Because, like, say they took the frontal armor buffs away and just gave it the rate of fire buff and the 7 degrees, maybe even, you know, 8 degrees of gun depression, then that would really make it unique, because it would be more of a ridgeline fighter, and the 113 would be the better side scraper with the 90 millimeters of side armor, and, you know, it would then have the better overall armor. So I love the playstyle of the 111-5A and 113, but it would be nice to not only would it prevent the power creep by taking away those armor buffs, but it would also make the 111-5A distinct, and that would be something fun. So then you play. So you know, you would have to develop a different playstyle for the 111-5A than the 113. So, you know, that would be something that would, I think, be ideal. But, you know, we'll have to see what Wargaming does. Heck knows, they may just put it into the game as it is. So I kind of dominated that flank with my gun depression, turret armor. I just kind of destroyed that E50M at the start, because I could go straight through his turret and he couldn't really penetrate me. That was my own T-62A that just shot me there, but that was not our own Jagdpanzer E100. It's definitely their Jagdpanzer E100. That was not the smartest play for me to just kind of sit out here. Obviously this tank with, what, 0.39 accuracy or something is not, you don't want to be sniping with it. I don't know how I'm still spotted. I guess I'm still spotted. Okay. I need to not sit here. This tank, like the 113, does not take artillery shells very well because it has very thin top armor. It has just 50 millimeters on the top of the hull and back turret. So it's very vulnerable to artillery, like the 113. Alright, I'm gonna have to try to focus here because we have, we're now at a disadvantage, and they're capping, and there's no one to defend the base. I do have good view range in this, but I'm just gonna have to see if I can. All I have to do to track him, all I have to do is track him to reset. So if I don't, okay. Lucky now I think I'm going to, I know the 140 is gonna be coming at me, so I'm just gonna try to prepare for him. so I was pretty lucky there. But that's probably not going to save me, because their 111.5A is still coming at me, and he's, I think, full health. Well, except for the one shot I put into him, I think he's still full health. Yeah. And this is not. Oh. Of course he. And there we go. So there is the 111.5. I think that more or less demonstrated, even though it was a loss, more or less demonstrated what's good and bad about the 111.5A right now. It has great frontal armor, nice gun depression. You just have so much flexibility, and you can easily work small ridge lines and undulations, and the damage that this 130 pumps out is incredible. But I would really like to see them nerf it a bit. I think the rate of fire is fine. The accurate, okay, well, I was wrong about the .39. It's .34, which is, well, that has to do, I think the base accuracy. Yeah, I was right about the base. It's .39 base accuracy. But that .34 is with all the skills and stuff. But I would like to see them take away. Personally, I would like them to take away the armor buffs and just have the same armor profile as the 111.14, but you give it a better rate of fire and the gun depression, and that not only makes it distinct from the 113 in its playstyle, but also prevents the continual power creep. Now, whether they want to do maybe decrease the rate of fire or take away the extra gun depression, but it needs to be something, because right now it's just too much of, I think, too much of an advance, or it's just too strong of a tank. But let me know what you guys think, and tell me if you like it, if you don't like it, if you think it's overpowered, or if it's just fine. And I will see you in the next one.